You know who I am?
Anything you say. Anything you say.
It's official.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now this week, or this past week in the news, I called it. I knew it was going to happen. They show Biden falling down off his bike, and they've just been going on and on about him falling off his bike. I called it. I knew they were going to do it for a while. I mean, he's an old man. It's not surprising. You know, he fumbles at everything anyway. So, anyways, saw that. The next thing that I knew that they were going to mention, but I didn't know they were just going to go on and on and on about it, and they just won't stop talking about it. The whole, box office bomb, Buzz Lightyear movie. Chris Evans came out and said some pretty shitty crap, calling people idiots that don't like the movie. And, they'll die off like the dinosaurs and become extinct. The guy can act. He's a good actor. But he's paid to entertain, not to give his political views. So, whatever, the guy is an idiot. I hate politics, and I hate it being put in our movies and our entertainment today, because it's all over the place. I've never been into politics until Obama got in the office, and then he created a mess, and now it's being, the politics is being slapped in our face, and leftist ideology over and over again, and it's just getting old. And people are fed up with it. But I agree that this is a kids movie. There shouldn't be any kind of like sexual content in it. And for them to go and put, alphabet community crap in there, it's a political move, and it shouldn't be in the movie. I don't care what it is. No sexual content should be in a kid's flick, period. But anyways, that's how I feel about it. That's just my opinion.
You know who I am?
I happen to agree. Plus, it's banned in 46 countries, so that should tell you right there, the woke shit needs to stop. But anyways, I digress. Moving on. The last thing I saw big in the news, which I just saw late last night, was the whole fact that Stephen Colbert and his crew were inside the building on January 6th. They went in. They were asked 3 times by state police to leave, but they kept coming back. A Democratic official kept letting them in. They went and helped the FBI, let everybody in the building, and then they proceeded to break a bunch of glass and destroy a bunch of stuff, trying to get a riot, help try to get a riot started. They were arrested, and then they were released like an hour later. Whereas those that were just wandering around the building were arrested and detained, interrogated for like a month or better. So it's kind of suspicious because they were claiming that they were called early to come in. How'd they know everybody was going to go there? They didn't know. This is before Trump gave a speech and all that crap. So it's real suspicious. And the fact that they were released an hour earlier, you know, after they caused all that mayhem and nothing was done to them. So it's a little strange. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I can't stand Stephen Colbert anyway. The guy's not funny. He's an idiot anyway. Anyways, moving on. I did watch episodes 6 and 7 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Go get you some strange. But anyways, the 6th episode was actually really meh. It was kind of boring. Pike runs across the old love interest, and they get it on. He's tasked to protect this kid that is important to her planet, but it's never explained why. No one knows why. He's just important. When he does find out what's going on, he realizes the whole planet is full of psychos who are willing to put a kid in a machine that drains his life force and kills him. Now, the reason for the machine is never explained. Like, supposedly they gotta have it, they depend on it, blah blah blah, to run the planet, which makes no sense. They don't know why it was built, who built it, and why it's needed. But we're just gonna, you know, throw the boy in there and kill him. Screw it. You know, we gotta have him to run the machine. Nothing's explained. Nothing.
You know who I am?
This is lazy ass writing, and that's why Kurtzman and his fellow writers suck at Star Trek. They suck, period. They can't write worth a shit. Anyways, episode 7, another whamming episode. They try to introduce like a little love triangle between Nurse Chapel, Spock, and Tupon. I can't think of her name, but his fiance or whatever, which is dumb because, you know, they've always been friends. They kind of had a romantic interest, but they weren't really into each other like that. Plus, we're just going to throw out canon when we know that Nurse Chapel never showed up on the Enterprise until Kirk took over the Enterprise. But who cares, right? He just makes shit up along the way. But it was a whamming episode because it was all about this woman who you later find out is in love with Spock's half-brother Cyborg, which they're trying to introduce. You only know about him in one particular movie, and it was probably the worst Star Trek movie of all the Star Trek movies. But, you know, whatever. It was a dumb episode. But it was all about this woman who was in love with his half-brother. Now, if you noticed, I don't know what it is. It's fucking retarded. Like half the crew, you know, of these women, they've all got these butch haircuts. I mean, it was flashing over to women on the bridge that were on the sideline. No men, all women, And they all had like these butch haircuts. I was just, what the hell? What is with the butch haircuts? It was just dumb. It was a terrible episode. You could tell right off the bat who the bad guy or villain was. You knew it was this woman. I mean, it wasn't hard to follow. But her being a captain of a ship or whatever, of pirates, I don't know. She just didn't come across that way to me. It was just dumb. It was a terrible episode. Anyways, moving on. Star Trek, just Strange New Worlds, just gets worse and worse. Anyways, but like I said, it's like a train wreck. You can't stop watching. You have to see how bad it really gets. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is a movie that was suggested to me by some good online friends. They have a sci-fi museum, and then they're working on a Hollywood horror museum. That's what they call themselves. But anyways, I call them the Unholy Triad, because supposedly there's 3 of them running the site, or the Twitter account. But anyways, they suggested A Night in Soho, which was done in 21. It starred Thompson McKenzie. Now, the reason why they suggested this, because they kept asking, they did it like 3 times. They kept asking, what's the best horror movie you've seen lately? Well, unfortunately, there hasn't been a decent horror flick in a very, very long time. Most of it's all serial killer crap, and it's been done hundreds of times, and it's just old and boring. So, I like horror flicks, but I like older horror flicks. I don't like the new ones because they've time and time again, they've been disappointing. They suck. Anyways, I knew I'd seen this girl before. I wasn't for sure where, because she's a New Zealand actress, and she's only had like bit parts in a bunch of television shows and stuff like that. Nothing major like this, a lead role. She has never done a lead role until now. But I'd seen her somewhere before. I could picture where I'd seen her before until I looked her up. And I was like, bam, there it is. She was the daughter of the guy who killed or shot Smaug with the black arrow in The Hobbit. And I knew I'd seen her somewhere before. I just couldn't picture her. But that's who she played. Azrid or something like that. Anyways, the movie. First of all, I'm just giving my honest opinion and facts here about the movie. Ghost stories like this have been done. It's a ghost story. It's been done many times. Someone dreams that they're this other person from the past, and it's a ghost, that's telling her about it. But there is a little twist to it. Anyways, I don't know of anyone in England that is that innocent, or a country bum England type girl like that. I have never seen it. In fact, I know people from England, and trust me, they are not that, innocent. But anyways, they try to portray her as this real innocent girl, like she don't know anything about the city when she gets there. She wants to be a fashion designer. Her mom committed suicide, supposedly, and her grandma's been taking care of her. She gets to the city, she meets some people, roommates or whatever. It's kind of mean to her, so she finds her own place with this old lady. He rents her a room. When she starts staying there, she starts having dreams of this girl who used to stay or live in the room. She ended up getting into drugs and prostitution, and instead of leaving, she sticks around. Now, there's two reasons why they would do that. First of all, they're either getting beat up by their pimp and they're scared to leave, thinking that they'll catch him and then kill him. Or two, they like the money. And no matter how much they bitch about wanting to get out, they like the money. So they stay in the biz. Anyways, she has some episodes in the movie. She gets with this black guy. They start dating kind of thing. And she starts looking in on the girl, trying to find who this girl was. She thinks this cop is the guy called Jack, who was the pimp, but it wasn't. She ends up getting him killed, which is fucked up. There's one scene, if you're in, okay, straight up, if you're not into slow or dragged out movies, this movie is not for you. There really is no action in it at all. The only action scene I saw was her running like down the streets of London because she kept seeing people that looked like ghosts, and she's freaking out. She's running, no harm done to her, she just flipping out for no reason. It was kind of dumb. But anyways, she finds out that the old lady that's renting the apartment to her was actually the girl Sandy that she was dreaming about. So she wasn't a ghost. The images she was receiving was actually from all the men she had slept with, because she was killing them left and right. She became a serial killer, and she would kill him after she had sex with him. She'd been doing it for a long time. And she even killed Jack, her pimp. So they were giving her the images when she thought they were after her, these ghosts of these men, but it was the other way around. They were telling her, she's what she is, the old lady. Anyways, the old lady burns up in the house. There's a fire that got started. Everyone ends well. It all ends well. She burns up in the house, and she's back home with her grandma, and her boyfriend's there, and they end up going back to the fashion designer, and she designs the most god-awful dresses. I mean, they're puke, barf, god-awful. They make people look fat. Anyways, that's the end of the movie. I like, movies that have a little twist to it. So I don't think it was all that great. The acting, the girl, Mackenzie, she did okay. She didn't do horrible. But the story was, wasn't all that great. It was all right, but it was a very slow movie. And, there were times where I thought I was going to fall asleep. It was just so slow. It reminded me of the Titanic. Nothing good was going on till the very end. So, I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. It's okay. If you're into horror flicks and you like ghost stories, you might like it. But if you're not into really slow, it was basically like a chick flick, because it was just drama at the beginning for quite a while before, anything really significant started happening. I'm not a big fan of dramas. But anyways, like I said, it's okay. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't spectacular either. It wasn't that good. It was okay. For a horror flick and a ghost story. Alright. That's all I have to say on that. Let's get on to your B movie reviews. Okay, movieaholics. This week is Sci-Fi Week. Now I picked two sci-fis that coincide with the last week's action movie called Cyborg with Van Damme. I said I'd get around to watching, you know, the other two eventually, and I did. This week I went ahead for Sci-Fi Week. I watched Cyborg 2 and Cyborg 3. Now, the main director of the original Cyborg, he did his own kind of spin-offs, but they had nothing to do with the original movie. This director went ahead and did spin-offs of the original Cyborg, but they tie in to the original Cyborg movie. Now, the first Cyborg movie was called Cyborg 2, Glass Shadow. It starred Angelina Jolie, Elias Curtis, and Jack Palance, and was done in 1993. There was no box office numbers because it went direct to video. Basically, the story is after the first Cyborg, the woman, or the female Cyborg, they used her data to cure the plague, and these major corporations sprung up. They still don't care about the people, and half the world is still dying. But these corporations started up, and they started selling cyborgs with explosives. Like, they started turning cyborgs into like assassination robots. That's basically what they did. Angelina Jolie plays one of these cyborgs. She's told that by this hacker that there was a cyborg before her, which does flashbacks of the old Cyborg movie with Van Damme, and this hacker tells her Van Damme was her protector, that she's going to need a human protector. So she starts kind of having like this relationship with Elias Curtis, which he plays like this training bodyguard, security guard kind of thing guy for this this corporation called Pinwheel, who's making these assassination cyborgs. The hacker tells them they need to escape and get out on their own, get away from there. So they do. Pinwheel sends a crazy loony psychopath to go track them down and kill them. there's a big mess towards the end, a big fight scene, and then, you know, Jack Palance comes in there and destroys Pinwheel, blows it all up, and, you know, Angelina Jolie and Elias Curtis, or whatever his name is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right or not. Sometimes, I never know. Some of these last names are weird. Anyways, they make it to a place called the Free Zone, where, you know, supposedly, you know, cyborgs live and people can't go mess with them. They live out their days. He dies. She continues on. And that's the end of the movie. It was okay for what it was. It wasn't bad for a B-rated flick. Had some decent actors in it. Some decent acting. I'd give it, you know, for a one-time watch, I say go ahead and watch it. 2 thumbs up. It wasn't bad. It was actually pretty decent for a B-rated flick. Oh, Angelina Jolie is really young in this too, because it was like her second movie or whatever that she acts. The first movie she ever starred in, and then the second movie that she actually ever really did. She'd done a couple music videos before that, but other than that, that was it. Let's move on to your next one. The third movie, Cyborg 3, was called The Recycler. It was done in 1994. It starred Christine Hajj. I'm not sure. Again, these last names sometimes. Richard Lynch, Malcolm McDowell, and Cat Williams was even in this. Shocking. Kind of a surprise, because you hardly ever saw Cat Williams after America's Greatest Hero, but he was in this too. Basically, Angelina Jolie does not reprise her role as Cash, the cyborg from Cyborg 2. They replace her with another actress, Christine. Somehow she's actually a unit that can get pregnant. A cyborg unit that can get pregnant, but yeah, whatever. So she ends up getting pregnant. She's going to be the first of the cyborgs that can have a child. Richard Lynch and his henchman, who's a cyborg, they collect cyborg parts and then sell them. They find out about her and they go chasing her all around the wasteland until they come to what they call the mythical city of cyborgs, called Cyber Zone or Cyber Free City or Cyber Zone City or some shit like that. I can't remember what the hell it's called. Anyway, it's supposedly a city full of cyborgs. Well, when Cash and Evans, this scientist guy that she picks up, they get there. He's human. He's a programmer. He used to program cyborgs. But they get to this so-called free city, cyber city or whatever. And it's literally a junk town. It's not a city at all. It's just a few buildings out in the middle of fucking nowhere in the desert. The corporations are all gone. Everything's kind of degraded. But when they get there, they find out most of the cyborgs that are there are falling apart. They need help. So the Evans guy, he starts helping them out, blah, 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 fixing them. And then Richard Lynch and his henchmen show up, and they call in a bunch of other cyborg collectors, and that they're going to go raid the town. Now they have this big scene where they're raiding the town and shit, and killing people and blowing crap up and all this other junk. You know, Richard finally gets killed. His henchman, the cyborg that was with them, changes sides and starts helping the cyborgs. And after everything's said and done, you know, she's going to have the baby, and that's, which is in this little metallic incubator she's carrying around. But anyways, that's the end of the movie. I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. But it's pretty cheesy and it's pretty B-rated. During the 90s, okay, the 80s, you know, it was a lot of, you know, after Mad Max, it was a lot of, you know, post-apocalyptic movies, you know. And then in the 90s, it was Cyborg. So many Cyborg movies. But this is another one that ran up to the charts. Unless you're a hardcore sci-fi fan, you probably won't like it, but it's a good for a one-time watch. I give it thumbs up, thumbs down. The acting wasn't bad. It's alright. It wasn't a horrible movie. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, it was watchable. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you have anything, any thoughts about what I was talking about earlier in the video, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you can think of any movies that I might have missed or you think I may never have seen, B movies or underrated movies, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. Any genre, and I'll get around to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.